And we've made it to the top, coming in at number 1 on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings. Defenseman for the Erie Otters, Matthew Schaefer and Pilsy. Is there, in recent memory, a first overall pick as unanimous as Matthew Schaefer that has played fewer games in his draft season?
I don't think so, Ross. The only thing I could think of is maybe the COVID year when guys weren't really playing, but Matthew Schaefer only playing 17 games in the OHL with the Erie Otters. Now, that's due to injury. Unfortunately, he broke his collarbone at the World Juniors, where in 2 games he had 2 points. He was rolling. That team was a different team with and without him. But with the Erie Otters in 17 games, he made the most of it. You got to give him that. 7 goals, 15 assists, 22 points, and finished a plus 21. There's a reason this guy is the number 1 ranked player by every single of our draft prospect entities. 1-1-1-1-1 all over the board. He is an incredible all-around defenseman.
And he is one of the youngest players in this draft class as well. He's a September birthday, so he doesn't turn 18 until September 5th. The cutoff, I believe, is September 14th or 15th. So he is right up against it as a guy who was that close to being a 2026 eligible. And for that reason, it's even more impressive that he was named to Canada's World Junior team this season, and he was getting ready to play what looked to be a prominent role. Unfortunately, that's where the injury occurred at the Canadian Tire Center in the second game of the tournament. After he had a goal and an assist in the first game, played over 20 minutes. Like, this guy, it just seems like he's so elite defensively, offensively, reliable, plays all situations. He's the type of defenseman that you can build your future around.
And the New York Islanders are hoping to do just that, Ross, as it seems all signs are pointing to them keeping the pick and more likely than not picking Matthew Schaefer. And he's a great skater. He's got elite offensive instincts. His wrister, he's got a hard wrister that can beat goalies clean from the point. He's dominant in all 3 zones. He reads the play well. Ross, when we're covering elite guys like this, it's almost less exciting for me because, like, amazing at this, amazing at that, amazing at this, amazing at that, the best at this. Like, I don't really know what else to say about Matthew Schaefer. He's probably one of the guys I've looked into the least just because he's going to go first overall. He's great.
Yes, and we asked Cam Robinson on our NHL mock draft, as I mentioned, available everywhere you get your podcast. It's just on YouTube, actually, but you can find all of our draft profiles wherever you get your podcast. That said, Matthew Schaefer, how would you compare him to the other top 5 drafted defensemen in recent history? Because every year since 2003, there's been a defenseman in the top 5, and Cam Robinson said he's right there with Jake Sanderson, ahead of others like Simon Nemec, like Owen Power, who was the first overall pick in that COVID draft you mentioned, and I looked it up. He played 26 games that year, so still more than Matthew Schaefer. And Owen Power had less points, albeit he was playing in Michigan, so in completely different situation too. He was one of the oldest players in that draft class, where Schaefer's one of the youngest, and I think that is the cherry on top of the excitement around Matthew Schaefer, is that as good as he is now, there's so much untapped potential and runway for him to get even better, even as early as this season, where you just hope he can play a full season, be healthy, and get back on the treadmill as fast as he was going. Because, like, his rookie year, it was decent as a young player in the OHL, 16 years old, played 56 games that year, 17 points, -2. It wasn't pop off the page type numbers, but the way he's learned to control a game, what an awesome attribute if you're a defenseman, being able to control the game to your pace, to the way you want to play, to make your forwards better with elite breakout passes. There's no holes in his game. He's 6'2", 183, so he's not going to be undersized either. He'll fill into that frame. And to top it all off, this guy's an incredible human being. You look at the NHL Scouting Combine as the most recent example of that, where he missed out on potential team meetings to go and visit a hospital, said that that was really important to him, and to be there for people who had lost a parent like he had. And he's dealt with a lot of tragedy in his life too. And it's super unfair and unfortunate that he's had to go through everything he has, but he talks about how that's kind of made him grow up a lot faster.
Yeah, super mature kid, well liked by pretty much anyone that you hear has talked to him or has dealt with him. I would say Ross, really the only knock on him or way he could be more sought after would be is if he was a right shot defenseman. Everything else, he checks all the boxes. I think it's going to be fascinating to see what decision he makes for where he's going to play next year. I assume that'll be done in collaboration with the New York Islanders or whatever team drafts him if he doesn't go first overall, which would be a huge shock. So the sky's the limit for Matthew Schaefer. And do you have anything else to say for him? I'm at a loss of words for just how good he is. I would honestly say, Ross, I think Cam was right when comparing to other defensemen. I would say him and Sanderson are probably closest together of all those top 5 guys that have recently gone. And as much as it pains me to say as a Sens fan, Ross, Matthew Schaefer probably has the potential to be a better defenseman than Jake Sanderson.
And
which is saying something.
Is there a team that needs a top end talent like the New York Islanders? Them winning the draft lottery, I mean, couldn't have come at a better time from them as they move on from a previous regime. They bring in kind of a fresh outlook around the organization. And it feels like Matthew Schaefer, modern day NHL star defenseman, is just the perfect way. And watch them trade the pick now before the draft. And people are going to watch this after and be like, ha, that's my player now, not the New York Islanders. But I think it would take a substantial offer to even have the Islanders consider this, because you can't trade for top tier NHL defensemen without paying a whole heck of a lot. And all they had to do was play the lottery ball game, and they got him.
Yeah, first overall picks just don't get moved. I don't know how you even start working on building a trade like that. The only thing that would make sense to me, Ross, is if they found a team that was interested in doing it, they found a package that worked, and they collaborated with other teams in between them to select James Haggins, the Long Island kid. That's the only way where I could see this making sense for the Islanders. And to have all those stars align is, I'm going to say, impossible. So it's not going to happen.
Yes, Matthew Schaefer, despite 17 games in the Ontario Hockey League, 2 games at the World Juniors, he broke his collarbone. I know we mentioned he got injured. The injury was a collarbone, and
also had mono. That was another thing you had to deal with.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
This guy's due for some good luck, and clearly the skill and the way he plays will make him a star in the NHL. Elite Prospects Draft Guide calls him shades of Miro Heiskanen. The scout poll has him as the best 4-way mobility, the best offensive defenseman, the best puck-moving defenseman, the highest ceiling in the class, the second highest floor, the second best straight line skater, the third best neutral zone defender, and the 5th best motor. So he is this year's Mr. Medals, as we used to call Jake Sanderson. He's got all sorts of talent. The one thing, if you're a team, and this would not scare anybody away, but you just want to make sure that they grow in to become a shutdown type as well. If you're going to be out there 27, 28 minutes, you're going to be in your own zone at times. And that's the part of his game. Like if you had to make a statement, whether he's an offensive, defensive defenseman, he's offensive. Like he wants to move the puck. He wants to control the pace of play, and he wants to get going north. So that's just going to be a development path for him, is going to be getting to be that elite level defenseman that you could throw him out on the PK, that you can throw him out in every situation, because a coach is going to love having him on the ice. And we love having him at first overall with an average rank of first overall on our 2025 NHL draft rankings. We have completed 50 draft profiles. They are all available individually on YouTube. So if your team drafts a certain player, boom, you got a 5 to 10 minute video explaining our thoughts and scouts' thoughts more so on what the team is getting. All right, Pilsy, that was fun. And what a way to put a bow on it with Matthew Schaefer.